Students, you now know that animals like a frog, an earthworm, a snail, and a snake are seen in the rainy season. Similarly, insects like a butterfly, a honey bee, a moth, and a wasp are seen in the spring season. Have you ever wondered where these animals go in other seasons? Let me tell you. Your body remains hot in both the summer and winter season, doesn't it? But the body of animals like a frog, a toad, a lizard, and a snake is always cold.
During the winter, our surrounding becomes very cold.
If these animals come out on land during winter, their cold bodies become very cold, and they may freeze. So, the animals like a frog, a toad, a lizard, and a snake cannot survive in the cold winter.
To escape the cold, they go to warm places for winter sleep.
They sleep under leaves, wood log, or stone to protect them from the cold winter. This long winter sleep is called hibernation. And the animals which hibernate are called hibernating animals.
So, animals like a frog, a toad, a lizard, and a snake are hibernating animals.
Animals like an earthworm, a bat, a hedgehog, and a woodchuck also sleep throughout the winter. They are also hibernating animals.
A mosquito and a housefly sleep under the barks of trees and in dark places throughout the winter. So, they are also hibernating animals.
Students, hibernating animals do not come out on land in winter. They do not run and eat. Hibernating animals remain inactive throughout the winter.
Animals like a frog, a toad, an earthworm, and a snake sleep in summer also.
Animals like a frog, a toad, an earthworm, and a snake cannot survive in hot summer either. If these animals come out on land in the hot summer, water from their bodies will evaporate. Due to the loss of water from the body, they may die.
So, to escape the hot summer, these animals go for a long summer sleep.
Long summer sleep is known as estivation. And the animals which estivate are called estivating animals.
So, animals like a frog, a toad, an earthworm, and a snake are both hibernating and estivating animals.
Students, animals like a desert tortoise and a spade-foot toad live in the hot desert. During summer, the hot desert becomes very, very hot. So, it becomes very difficult for these desert animals to survive in the desert. To escape the hot summer, they also go for a long summer sleep. So, animals like a desert tortoise and a spade-foot toad are also estivating animals.
But these animals do not sleep in the winter. So, they are not hibernating animals. They are estivating animals.
Like hibernating animals, estivating animals also do not come out on land during estivation. They do not eat and run. They remain inactive during estivation.
Hi guys! Can you guess the title of my next video?
Oh.
Hurry up! Write your guess in the comment section below.
How do animals hibernate? Usually during winter. It is quite cold and the food is scarce. Hence, in order to survive during winter, many animals snuggle up in burrows, caves, tree trunks, etc. and remain inactive as if they are in a deep sleep. This state of inactivity is called hibernation, and the animals which hibernate, such as bears, bats, groundhogs, ground squirrels, etc. are called hibernators. Now, during hibernation, many changes take place in their bodies. For example, their heartbeat and breathing rates slow down. Their body temperature goes way down. Also, many animals don't even eat or drink. Instead, they eat a lot before hibernating and store the food in their bodies in the form of fat. Then, while hibernating, the hibernators use this stored fat to keep themselves alive in the winter. Depending on the species, some of them might not even urinate or defecate for days or weeks. Then, when winter is over and the climate is favorable, the hibernators wake up and perform their regular activities. Why does hot air balloon float?
'Cause it has invisible wings!
No, it is because of density. Density is the measure of mass present per unit volume. Lesser the density, lighter will be the object. Now, density varies with temperature.
Oh dude, it is so complicated.
Alright, I'll explain. When a hot air balloon is on ground, the air inside and outside the balloon is of same temperature and density. However, when we turn on the burner of the balloon, the air inside the balloon starts getting hot. The molecules of air move faster and spread apart, taking up more space. Hence, the air inside the balloon becomes less dense than the air outside. As less dense air is lighter, the hot air balloon rises and thus begins to float. Topic: Archimedes' principle. Why do we weigh less in water? Hey, looks like you have gained a lot of weight. Come on, let us check your weight. You weigh 132 pounds. Alright, don't get stressed. Check your weight in water. Look, it is much lesser. Do you know why you weighed less in water? The answer to this is based on Archimedes' principle. Not that principle. Archimedes' principle is a fundamental truth which states that an object fully or partly immersed in a fluid experiences an upward force called buoyant force, which is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. It went over your head, right? No worries. Let me explain. Gravity always pulls us downwards. Hence, the weight of our body always acts downwards, whether we are on ground or in water. However, according to Archimedes' principle, when we are in water, we experience an upward force. That is, buoyant force, which is equal to the weight of water displaced by us. This upward force cancels a portion of our weight, causing us to weigh less in water.
Why are flamingos pink?
Wait, I'll explain. A baby flamingo is not pink. It is actually born with gray feathers.
So does it spray paint itself with pink color?
No. Flamingos get their pink or orange color from their food, which is mainly algae and shrimps. These organisms contain carotenoids. Carotenoids are reddish-orange colored pigments. When a flamingo eats algae and shrimps, its liver extracts the colored pigments. The pigments are then absorbed by fats. These fats start depositing in the flamingo's growing feathers, which eventually cause the flamingo to turn pink or orange. Now, an interesting fact is that we also eat fruits that contain carotenoids, such as carrots, apricots, mangoes, etc. But we do not eat enough of these fruits for them to affect our skin color. What are tonsil stones?
They are special stones used to make bowling balls.
No. When we open our mouth wide enough and look at ourselves in a mirror, we can see a pair of palatine tonsils in our throat. These tonsils have crevices and holes called tonsillar crypts. Now, sometimes food particles, mucus, dead cells, and bacteria get collected in the crypts, and over time, the collected lumps begin to calcify.
What does calcify mean?
Wait, I'll explain. Calcification is the accumulation of calcium in a particular part of the body. Usually, this happens for the formation of bones and teeth. However, sometimes, the collected lumps in the crypts also start calcifying. They turn into hard structures of calcium and other compounds, thus forming tonsil stones or tonsilloliths.
Hello YouTube and welcome to Wildlife Wonders. My name's Nikki and I'll be your host. Let me first say that I am running a small cold, so I hope that my semi-nasally voice isn't a little distracting. But today, we're going to be talking about hibernation and astiviation. When I was younger, I remember watching an episode of Corwin's Quest, and he had this lump of what looked like mud, and he put it in a container of water, and he said, okay, and now we wait. To my surprise, a fish came out of that, and I was so shocked. I never thought that a fish could do such a thing. And it turns out that this thing was actually a cocoon made by the Ethiopian lungfish. I'll play a clip in a minute of him explaining more about the Ethiopian lungfish, but I was so surprised and I thought it was so cool, and it's a memory that I have until this day. It is something that really stuck with me over the years. The lungfish doesn't hibernate. This process is actually called astiviation, which is prolonged torpor or dormancy during a hot or dry period. Hibernation is a state of inactivity and metabolic depression. They're basically the same. According to Daily Mail, the African lungfish can sleep for up to 5 years without any subsistence. Researchers said that they slow down their biological clock during the process. Gene expression in liver compared during and after hibernation period. Changes make the fish produce very little waste and conserve energy. Understanding this process could be vital for replicating suspended animation in humans, for emergency operations, and space travel. Those are cool. And Jeff Corwin goes on to explain that they could be a missing link because the Ethiopian lungfish, as the name implies, It's a fish with lungs. So the fish actually has lungs and gills, and its unique fins allows it to somewhat get a grip and sort of even like walk on land, if you will. They awaken when the dry river meets the wet season, and they can sleep for years, and that's just crazy. I thought it was really cool, and I'll play the clip now.
Check this out. Something is definitely happening. This creature, before it went into estivation, before it created that cocoon, it made a little slit that it could exit from. Oh, look at that! Oh, it worked! And there it is. Look at that. I can't believe this. This animal belongs to an ancient group of vertebrates called the dipnoans. They've been living on our planet for many, many, many millions of years. It is called the Ethiopian lungfish. And there are just so many things that are awesome, that are cool about this creature. Look at this. If I hold them up, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. The fins, see, he's actually swimming around there. Look at that. He's swimming, but he's actually dancing those fins around. But they are more limb-like than fin-like. Not only, like other fishes, is it equipped with a gill-like respiratory system, but it also has a lung-like respiratory system. When the water becomes very thick and hot and deoxygenated, this beast still survives. It can creep up to the surface, take a gulp of air, like this, like it's doing right now. Look, actually just did it. See, the bubbles are exiting. It comes up, sort of demonstrate again, like that, takes a gulp of air. Scientists for many years looked at this group of fish, the dipnoans, as sort of a living link, that stage where some ancient creature transformed from fish to the amphibians, and then the reptiles, and then, of course, birds and mammals. Now, it doesn't seem to be that simple. The truth is probably a lot more complicated and more convoluted, with a lot more branches heading up through the evolutionary tree. But these are an amazing creature, and it is the ultimate survivor in this very extreme habitat. But here in Kenya, the wet season is well on its way. We've woken up this lungfish, so let's get him where he needs to go. Thanks, buddy.
Alright, the next animal I wanted to talk about, I saw on the Frozen Planet. This was episode 2 of 7, Spring, and it takes place in the Arctic. This animal is the woolly caterpillar. The woolly caterpillar is the world's oldest caterpillar. This caterpillar lives around 14 years old before it turns into a woolly moth. And it's super cute. This caterpillar's quest to turn into a moth is such an inspirational one. Its life is constantly on the go. From the moment it wakes up, it eats, and then freezes and actually even dies. Its heart stops and everything. And when the spring rolls around, it wakes up and it does the same thing over and over, again and again, year after year, until it's able to reach its final stage. This next animal I wanted to talk about is a frog. It's called the wood frog. If you saw a frog that had ice crystals on it, that wasn't breathing and didn't have a heartbeat, you would probably think it was dead. If it was a wood frog, it'd most likely be in hibernation. This was said by conservationinstitute.org. I'm going to go on with the quote. Wood frogs hibernate inside logs or burrows or under rocks and leaf piles during the cold of winter. When in hibernation, they actually stop breathing. Their heart stops, and ice crystals form in their blood. When the weather warms, they defrost, and their lungs and heart go back to action. Pretty amazing. That's typically when animals die. When they die from being cold, it's when the ice crystals forms in their blood and in their cells. And that's exactly what happens to this frog. But the frog survives, and it comes back. I don't have a clip for this frog, but I thought it was a story worth sharing. These are 3 unique ways that animals hibernate / astiviate. I think that's the word. And I hope you had a fun time watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you like me, give me a subscribe. Maybe give me some suggestions. I don't have a huge following at this point, so any suggestions, I'm sure I would just pick it up and make a video out of it. A few other videos I've been thinking about making that I haven't gotten to make yet. and I'm really looking forward to talking about those and making those in the future.
Okay children, that is it for today. I hope you have followed it. If you have any doubts, you can contact me through my number, message me through WhatsApp number. Keep yourself safe, healthy and also study well children. Bye.